Hello, good people. So today I wanted to get into this video and talk to you about metabolic syndrome. So let's talk about it. According to the Mayo Clinic, metabolic syndrome is a group of conditions such as high blood pressure, high blood sugar, abnormal cholesterol, and a fatty waistline. And when these conditions inhabit the body together, three or more of these symptoms, that will categorize you as having metabolic syndrome. According to the Mayo Clinic, it is also stated that regular exercise is what can prevent it. This is really a serious condition because when you have these conditions and you don't do anything about it, over time, you become more susceptible to heart disease, stroke, and diabetes, type 2 diabetes. So there's a few things that's really important to consider if you have, three of these conditions or two or more, you may be heading in that direction. And so if you have these symptoms, there's a few things that you can do to help reverse it or fight it off. The reason why this is really so important right now is because these are some of the comorbidities that people are dying from. And the simple fact that it can be prevented may give you something to think about. Insulin resistance is when your cells no longer respond to the sugars that your body is taking in. When this happens, the sugars stay in your blood and it elevates your blood sugar levels. This is what in turn causes type 2 diabetes. Having high blood sugar over a period of time can cause hardening of the arteries, arteriosclerosis. That can lead straight to heart disease and stroke. So the main factor in this situation is exercise. It is extremely important to move your body on a daily basis. Some people say, I walk to and fro. Try to get in 40 minutes of walking at least 3 times a week. That's more of, I would say 40 minutes of walking is about 2 miles. So if you walk 20 minutes to someplace and walk 20 minutes back, if you're already doing that and you still have these symptoms, you're going to have to go a little harder. So one of the other things that you can do is pay attention to how you eat your food. Pay attention to what you put on your plate. You do not want to combine foods in an improper way that puts pressure on the liver to metabolize, the food that you're eating. For instance, if you want to have steak for dinner, this is just an example. Steak is very hard for the body to break down, right? So you don't want to mix it with a starch. If you mix a meat with a starch, it's going to cancel each other out and it's going to have a much harder time breaking down for the body to utilize it as energy, hence itis. That's why when you eat things like that, you just feel like you're so, you're tired afterwards because your body is fighting to work and take the nutrients out, which in a meal like that, there's not many nutrients. There's not many minerals or the amino acids that your body actually need to keep everything flowing healthily in your body. So instead of eating that steak with rice or that steak with potatoes, it would be better to eat that steak with a salad, or that steak with a salad and a raw salad and a cooked vegetable, and leave the rice and the potatoes for another time, because those starches, like I said, is exactly what cancels out the protein, and it just makes it harder for your body. You will notice, and I guarantee you this, you will notice over time, if you switch to eating that way, you will have more energy. When you eat, you're not going to feel like you have to go lay down or you just want to sit in the same spot. You'll have a little more energy and you'll want to move around. But steak still, I'm not a red meat eater, so steak still is one of the things that I really will not have in my diet anymore because of how much it taxes the body. The same goes for chicken and turkey and fish. You want to eat those proteins with vegetables, not starches. Now, on the other hand, if you're a starch eater and you feel like you have to have starch, you do the same thing. You eat it with a vegetable. You eat it with a raw salad and another vegetable, or a cooked vegetable, or just the rice in a big salad. That will ensure that you still have lots of energy. Your body is going to burn it up and metabolize it quickly. Your body is going to take from it what it can use. The rest goes to waste, and that's it. Also, of course, with exercise, one thing that I used to do was, and this was after I suffered from a condition of my GI tract. One thing I would do was I was making sure that I ate dinner and I was finished dinner and in the kitchen and everything by 7 p.m. And after that, I went for a walk for at least 30 to 40 minutes, sometimes even an hour. I would take the whole family. Let's go. We're going for a walk. Everyone, we all went out. We walked all around our neighborhood, and we would come home and everybody was good. It actually gives you a burst of energy. Another thing you can do, which is probably very difficult for a lot of people, especially when you have the standard American diet, is cut out the sugar. A lot of people think that eating a lot of fruit is good. It is not, because that's still glucose. And having too much of it will still elevate your blood sugars. That's why people who have type 2 diabetes and type 1 diabetes, they don't eat too much of it, because it just becomes an overload on the system, and it will remain in the blood, which will elevate the sugars. It's going to work the same way. So having one fruit a day is ideal, along with your vegetables. And it gets intricate, because you might think, oh, let me just eat vegetables. I'm just going to eat vegetables. But there are vegetables that are actually starches, like the corn and the sweet potatoes, the spinach. Those still have starches in it. So you have to be mindful of that when you put your meals together. There are charts online that you can look up to see which foods are the best to combine together, because not all of them are great to combine together. But I'm just going to give you the gist of it. Now, fatty liver disease is the condition of when you usually have that central obesity, and that's just the fat around your waist. That is particularly dangerous, because that alone puts you in a category where you're more susceptible to a heart attack. And in our communities, it's really prevalent. Like, I feel like I see most people with a belly. When you see someone who has a flat belly, that does not necessarily mean that they don't have fatty liver disease, but it's just not apparent. You never know what's going on the inside of someone's body. They can look perfectly healthy. I mean, my own mother, she was very small, probably about 130 pounds. And she died of heart disease, because you just cannot tell what's going on the inside. So that's why it's really very important to know what you're putting in your body and to keep track of what you're eating on a day-to-day basis. Even skipping some days of eating or having one meal a day can help prevent you from getting these diseases. And I just recently watched a lecture where they spoke about doing just a 48-hour fast really resets your blood sugar. So if you can do something like that, which shouldn't require you to go to the doctor unless you have pre-existing conditions, you may want to notify your doctor just in case, or ask if it's okay for you to do it. 48 hours of fasting. You can do a water fast. You can do a juice fast. If you do a juice fast, the same thing applies. Be mindful of how you mix your vegetables and your juices. Don't try to do anything too fancy. Drink the juice for 48 hours. And at the end of that 48 hours, you go back to eating light foods, of fruit, vegetables, some soups, maybe some broth, and see how you feel. I mean, it's amazing. I did one a few weeks ago. It's really amazing. I used to do them every month. Well, I used to fast 3 days for every month, And that's when I was feeling at my best. My body was in shape, and I just felt really good all the time when I made it a thing to fast for those 3 days out of the month. There are also herbs that you can incorporate into your diet to help metabolize the fat that you eat, to help, help you move your bowels properly, because you literally should have a bowel movement after you eat. About 30-40 minutes after you eat, and that food is breaking down, as the food is breaking down in your stomach and your intestines, you should feel like you have to go to the bathroom. And if you do not, that is probably because you have a lack of bile that's breaking the food down, especially if you had already watched the combination of foods that you've eaten. So one of the herbs that I suggest is yellow dock root. Yellow dock root is an amazing herb. It helps the gallbladder to increase the bile. The bile is what breaks it down in your gallbladder and in your intestine to help things move along. It purifies the blood, so it helps clean your blood. The fact of the matter really is that your blood is going to determine what state your body is in. So if for instance, and I'm not trying to judge anybody, I'm not trying to offend anybody, but if for instance you eat Chinese food 3 times a week, and then on the other days you eat pizza and hero sandwiches, lots of fast food, McDonald's, Wendy's, and all of these things, more than likely you have that big belly. If you're younger, you probably don't have it yet, but you probably have brain fog. You might have some issues going on in your reproductive system, because all of those foods cause congestion in the body, in the liver, in the blood. And that is the thing that can lead to an early death and premature death. It's a fact. It's proven. It's a fact. Not to be debated because that's just what it is. So what I'm just trying to say is that exercise is key to preventing a lot of this. Your food diet combinations are extremely important. You should be mindful of it. Now you know. You cannot say you don't know now. You know better. So when you know better, they say you do better. It's not an easy thing to change your diet and to change your lifestyle, but it's definitely worth it, because you will feel better. You will physically feel better. You will have more energy. You'll be ready to, do the things that you probably did not feel like doing. Exercise could be anything from cleaning up your whole house to jogging, if you can jog, or to just walking, a leisurely walk. But you should probably walk a little faster than leisurely, so that things start to burn, And so that's really what I have to say about metabolic syndrome. It's a lot of different conditions. That's why it's called a syndrome, because all these different conditions put together makes it a syndrome. And the syndrome makes it more serious because it's coming from so many different, different things. And like I always say, most of the people who I talk to about diet and health, they seem to already have high blood pressure and they're pre-diabetic. These are things that can be reversed. It's just a matter of you becoming a conscious eater, looking at what you eat each and every day, spacing out your meals, and you're on that point with spacing out your meals, fasting, intermittent fasting is another amazing thing that you can do for your body. I would recommend the 18-6 diet, which means that you eat within a 6-hour period. You eat everything that you're going to eat for the day in a 6-hour period, and you do not snack outside of those 6 hours. That gives you 18 hours of fasting, because each time your body is fasting, your body is not thinking, your body is not having to work so hard at breaking down what you eat. Your body goes into repair mode when you're fasting. So it starts to, do all these things that, the liver has literally filed away because it couldn't do, because, there was rice to digest, there was bread to digest, there was steak to digest, there was chicken, the chicken biscuit that you have for breakfast to digest. All these things the liver cannot work on at once. And another thing is that we don't pay enough attention to our liver. Our liver is like everything. Like, the liver is the largest detox organ in the body. Well, actually, I always say that the liver is the strongest detox organ in the body. Your skin is the largest detox organ of the body. So that's why when some people, they have some kind of illness, you might see that they break out. When you start to detox and now you're not putting all those foods in your ear, the eruptions come on your skin, because that's the secondary mode of detox of your body. But the liver is the first. So if you have fatty liver disease, or you have that wide fat stomach from, diet, it's really good to pay attention and start to use some of the herbs that can help the liver filter out some of those poisons and decongest the liver so that you can get it to function correctly again. It takes work, it takes time, but with diligence and persistence, you can overcome these conditions. I want to give that hope. I've seen people overcome it. I'm actually overcoming, some of the above. And I would like to see more people be more conscious and make the decision to stop living in a way that's not conducive to their health and their longevity for the future. We have children, we have grandchildren, and we want to see them grow up and have our great grandchildren. So we, just on top of us knowing these things, we want to be able to give our children and our grandchildren enlightenment on what to eat. Just because it's in front of you, just because we see it everywhere, it shouldn't be eaten. Most of this stuff is not even food. It's not. It's laden with chemicals and plastic and just all types of things that the liver has to try to figure out how to detox from the body and from the blood. And, once one organ like the liver starts to fail or has problems, it's going to be passed on to the kidneys. It's going to get passed on to the pancreas. And then a lot of people wonder why they have cancer. Like, where did it come from? Cancer takes years to come about. It takes years. It takes about 10 years before you even know that you have any symptoms of cancer. And a lot of times, once you have symptoms of cancer, you're all the way at the end. You're like stage 3, stage 4. That's why so many times you'll see someone say, oh, such and such has cancer. And then next thing you know, boom, they die. These are things that can be prevented. And it's my job to tell you some of the things that you can do to help you to make more conscious choices about what you're putting in your body, especially even more so if you are on medication now, because that's what happens soon after. You get on medication, the medication is toxic. You take it for one thing, it's going to cause toxicity in another organ and another organ. Next thing you know, you can barely walk, you with a cane, you keep eating the same thing. Now you're in a wheelchair, you cannot walk. I see this every single day. I see this every single day. And it's something that's really close to my heart, because the people I see suffering from it the most are my people. And while it can be anybody, It's not only my people, but I'm speaking to my people when I'm talking about this, because I'm to be honest, like, I moved to Atlanta in 2005, and I was completely devastated by what I saw. I remember going to the supermarket one day, and on my way to the supermarket, I was just seeing so many people walking with canes and people in wheelchairs. I was like, what? Like, what is wrong with all these people? What happened? What's going on? I was probably, I don't know, in my early 30s at the time. Actually, probably my late 20s. Yeah, probably my late 20s. I was in my late 20s at the time. But, at that time, I had just finished suffering from some catastrophic things with my health. But when I looked at what I was seeing and I saw all these people, in my mind, I was like, how did that happen? How did you get there? Like, I mean, what contributed to the breakdown of your body, so much that you are in a wheelchair instead of walking? And it was the diet. But you know what? When I visited that store and I walked into that supermarket, the first thing I saw was buy one, get one free. Cereal, 2 for $4. Potato chips, sodas, 99 cents. As soon as I walked through the door, soda, chips, cookies, cold cereal, processed. These are all processed foods. And these are exactly what brings about these conditions. And you know what the saddest part of all this is? Children are getting, children can start to be on their road to heart disease as young as the age of 7. So if you have a small child and you're feeding them fast food and you're giving them cold cereal and frozen food from the frozen food section in the supermarket, and you're not cooking, and looking for healthy meals to give them, this is what our children are suffering from. This is a lot. It's not one thing, but it's the whole lifestyle change thing. We need to go back. We are seriously needing to go back to how things were before all of these major corporations started filling supermarkets and making you think that what you were getting was food, because this stuff is not food. On that note, I'm just going to go because I can go on and it can get, deeper for me. I had a lot of experiences with myself and my diet, with family members and their diets, and loved ones. But another thing, eat less. 1 meal a day, you could do it. I know that probably sounds bizarre to some people, but like, if you want to live, you eat less. The more you eat, the worse off you're going to be, unless you are really eating like raw food or, raw organic foods. But that's the gist of what I had to say. I really had to say this. This has been on my heart for some time now, and I wanted to get out here and talk about it. You can subscribe to my YouTube channel, My Nutritious Earth. You can follow me on Facebook, My Nutritious Earth LLC. I just recently created a group that I'm just going to start being active in now. You can join that as well from the Facebook page. The group is there, so that I can share bits and pieces about herbs and about healing, so that we can together help heal our community, because it is so needed. Not just with food, with everything that we go through. But the food is, a staple in the so-called Black household. And so it is very important to me and very dear to my heart. I thank you for watching this video. Hopefully you got something from it, and I will see you in the next video. Bye for now.